Good morning. It's 6 o'clock. Issue number 1 from yesterday. Solved. Next up, we gotta treat some beans. Seed warehouse is getting empty. So I gotta figure out where exactly stuff's at. I believe it's straight over right there. We're gonna do 6 boxes, 3 of one variety and 3 of another. So I'm gonna get the treater fired up, get some chemicals mixing. Probably gonna have to open another keg. That's okay, but we're gonna try and do this as quickly as possible. Maybe. There. All right, there it is. Last keg cut. I don't need a lot out of here, like a gallon, but I don't anticipate that this is going to be the last of the beans that I treat either. We got orange beans, teeny tiny little beans. Dad and Phil are both here. Phil's loading up some more seed to take to Berkey. Because I had a customer that took one of our boxes. He needed a second one, so he took one of the ones that we had down there, so we're replacing that. Dad's got to go get that bearing for the disc, so he's off to do that here real quick. And turns out Brock's coming this morning. I guess he decided he got enough sleep last night. He can come here this morning, which will be good to help us move back. All right, the beans are all treated. They're all boxed back up where they need to be and sitting in a pile so that guy that needs them can just come and get them. Brock is here already, and so we are going to take his car down to the farm. I'm gonna get my mail here, and then we're gonna go to Berkey. Well, we made it down here. Dad's here replacing that bearing on the disc. He went and got a new one. I think Phil's probably over at the field already, which is good. I'm gonna load up seed in the planter and we're gonna go plant corn. Oh yeah, I gotta fix this hose before we can go plant. I forgot. And I wanna rinse the planter off a little bit. So I pulled up here by the tank. I'm gonna see if we can get the pump and the hose set up here. Well, I got the bad chunk out. I gotta put that one on there and hope that it's long enough to connect and not break when I turn. Okay, I think this hose will be all right. It looks like it's got enough slack yet. We're loading seed. I've got another full box. It's actually more than a full box because I had a little bit of a partial back at Waldron, and so I dumped it on top of this one. So we're gonna dump that whole thing in there. And then those 2 will be empty and we'll have enough seed to finish down here by a lot. But this is what we're gonna plant out when we get back to Waldron anyway. So it will be good. And then we'll be ready to go plant. Oh man, guys, this seed tender is so nice. It cleans out, you don't spill anything. It's awesome. Anyway, planter's full. I'm gonna throw this back in the barn real quick, but leave Brock with instructions to get the tanks off of it because we don't, or the boxes off of it. We'll leave all the boxes down here, fold them up. I'll come pick them up with a gooseneck. Okay, let's go to the field. I've given Brock some instructions on what all needs to be done. Folding some boxes. I need a battery for one of my little remotes. He's gonna see if he can find. And then getting Phil set up with whatever Phil needs. And then he was gonna come find me. So I've got about 70-ish acres, not quite, to plant. And once we get that done, Brock can come and help me do that plot. All right, we are off planting here. What do we got? 66 acres to do, so we should get across this pretty quick. Taking me a little over 3 hours to do. It's not quite 9:30, so yeah, lunchtime we'll be done, and then we'll have a plot to do. Okay. So I apologize in advance. Actually, I don't, because you guys are going to enjoy this. You're going to get a bunch of rants in this field. I am going to go off on a couple of people, and I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, here we go. You ready? Do you guys see all these tracks? Yeah, we're on this again. There's some more. They're literally across this entire field, all over the place, on an angle, whatever. They come in right over by that house, but they don't live at that house because nobody lives there. Somebody has decided this was going to be their playground and they could just come ride their four-wheeler around out here whenever they wanted after we got done with the spring tillage. I already planted these end rows last night, but there was a bunch of tracks in through there. It is not okay for you to ride across a farmer's field without permission, ever. I don't care if you're on a four-wheeler. I don't care if it's after the crop has been harvested and you think there's nothing growing there. I don't care. Do not do it. It's not your field. You don't own it. You don't rent it. You don't make your living off of it. Stay off or ask for permission. Like, I'm sure that this person thought we were going to come in and do more tillage. Well, they probably didn't. They probably didn't care one bit. They just saw a nice, smooth, level field that they could go rip across wide open and have fun. And don't do it. What happens when you drive across our fields when it's ready to be planted is that you change the compaction levels in the ground, or the ground conditions, and so the plants that get planted into tire tracks aren't going to grow the same as the plants around them. And when I need everything to come up as even as possible, that hurts. And I don't like driving across the field to pull my planter across it. I have to. It's a necessary evil, but at least my tires are between the rows and I'm not planting right into those tracks. I can't not plant into your tracks when you drive across my rows or on an angle with your four-wheeler across my field. Just stay off, you know? And now I have no way of keeping them off. Now that I've got it planted, do I think that they're going to respect the field more, or are they just going to come out here and drive across my growing crop until it's too big to drive through? I don't know. That ticks me off though, and it's unacceptable. So please be respectful and don't go on property that's not yours just because it looks like fun. Now, the problem here is, and I shouldn't even say this, but the problem is I have no way of catching or knowing who did this without catching them red-handed. And Dad said something to our landlord that owns this farm, and they weren't sure who did it, but they were also not real happy about it. And it's just, there's nothing that I can do about it. And I know I could put up trail cams and stuff, but look at it, guys, it's a big wide open field. Like, where do you want me to set the camera on? Right where they're coming in and out, I guess, but it's incredibly frustrating, and there's just nothing that I can do about it. All right, now that we're done with that one, I just got a phone call, and boy, have I got a surprise for you guys tomorrow. Stay tuned. There's a house and a lane here that cuts off part of this field, so we've got some short rows to piece in here in this corner. But I gotta get the ends on the other end done yet, so drive over there and do that, and look at all the four-wheeler tracks out here. Hey, you guys see that tire? That tire has been there for a very long time. Well, I guess my fertilizer hose wasn't long enough after all. It did well for quite a while, but it broke on this pass on these ends. Yeah, there's a chunk missing out of it over there. Crap. So I gotta get a hose. We're gonna sacrifice the hose we got down to Berkey. There is what we're gonna do. I probably should have known better. Thought it was long enough to do this. The rest of what we got, there's not that much. I must have turned sharp on that end down there, and it stretched it and broke the coupler, and then it leaked the whole way back down the field, so I'm just glad I caught it. I ran quick when I saw it. Good to go? Give her a shot. All right, it's 4 inches longer than it was. It should work. Okay, well, it's back together and it's not dripping. Let's hope that I made it long enough and that one stays together. Back to planting. All right, well, we're back and rolling along here and making some progress. We're 30 acres in, 40 to go. You guys ready for rant number 2 for the day? You see that beautiful, nice new house over there with a nice barn to go with it and the pond out back that they probably spent in the ballpark of $1.5 million over there between the whole project? Yeah, well, their builder was a dang slob. There's trash all over this field from that project. We got some plastic here, there's some carpet padding up over there, there's more plastic laying all over the place. I remember when Dad came down here and fit this, he was complaining that they had stuff all over. The road ditch is full of it, it's blown across the field. Like, clean up after yourself, people. I remember it last fall when we were combining down here that there was trash blowing across the road from that house, and it's not the builder, or it's not the owner's fault, it's the builder's fault, and that's ridiculous. Another contributing factor to us picking the builder that we did is when we went to their job site, it was clean, and they do a good job, and they care about that attention to detail kind of stuff. And I mean, we're still early in the project, but I think they're going to do a good job. So just, why? Pick your stuff up. So I got Brock set up with access to my John Deere account, give him his own account and access to our organization. And he has decided that he thinks he needs to see what I'm doing. Should I let him? He doesn't know that it tells me when he's trying to do this. Look, there's Brock picking up some more of their trash. Alright, Brock rode around with me for a little while. He's not been in the planter before, so just kind of learning how it all works. But he is going to go pick up some pizza for us. It's kind of a, I don't know, it's not really a thing, but it's something we do here a lot when we're finishing up, or Fridays a lot of times. We'll get some pizza and everybody can have some. So he's going to run pick that up, drop some off to me, run some over to Dad and Phil and Jack and whoever else needs some, and then we'll be about done with this field. There's a big rock over there. Right in between the rows though. Couldn't be in a better spot. We'll get it eventually. Whew, guys, I'm dragging a little bit today. We're getting pretty deep into the spring planting sprint here, and I'm tired. I was adding it up. I think by the end of the day I'll have over 80, between 80 and 85 hours in the last 5 days. I haven't seen my kids since Sunday morning. I miss them. They miss me. Same with my wife. And yeah, I'm ready to be done. But today and tomorrow, and we'll have all the corn in the ground. So then things slow down for a few days at least, and it will be good. So I need a nap. Lunch and Mountain Dew should help the drowsiness. I think I'm about to make this little kid's day. Oh yeah, definitely made that kid's day. Okay, we got that field done. We're gonna do this plot here. I dropped the tank, pumped some fertilizer onto the planter so we can plant this plot. I got Jack and Brock here, they're gonna help me. So we gotta get everything cleaned out, new varieties in, all that fun stuff. All right, putting the first 2 entries in. I think we've got enough seed to go all the way down, but I'm not 100% sure. Brock found himself a good riding spot, and we're gonna knock this one out. So I threw the next 2 entries and the clean out stuff we need on the other end, so we don't have to drive the truck back and forth. We'll just get them every time we come to this end. Being the seasoned veteran pot planters that we are, we're over half done, although having only 10 helps. But we are cruising right through this. It won't take very long. Being the unprofessional novices that we are, I forgot flags and stakes, so I'm just throwing empty bags at the end of the field, hoping they'll still be there by the time I remember to come back and actually put stakes with the variety names on them. Whatever. This is all for you guys. I sent them out there with a GoPro and I said, here, give me some footage. Berkey corn plot, check. Berkey corn, check. Phil's on the last plant of beans, awesome. So we are gonna hook our tank back up, get everything cleaned up, and off we go, back to Waldron. We'll load up and keep planting. We made it. Dad's kind of in the way there. So Dad called me when I was on my way back and said we had an antifreeze leak on this tractor, which we clearly do. That's gonna be a problem. Good thing we're about done. Well, before we load the planter up, I'm getting the sprayer back ready for Dad, putting that display in, just making sure that everything is set up right and all the data that's on it, that he needs, is on it. He had a hydraulic hose down there that he's fixing right now at the moment. Oh man. We're right down at the bottom of my starter tank. I don't know if we got enough to finish. I don't need a lot, but there can't be much in there. Fueling while I go fill up my water. We did plan all that down to Berkey, made the trip down and back with 1 tank of fuel. All right, I got all fueled up. We've got our fertilizer. We've got seed left from where we finished down there, but I did a little math and we used, I don't remember what we used. There are like 17 units of seed left in the planter and we need 28 to plant this field. They've got 2 paper bags on the planter, which means we need another 10 bags or so. So I'm gonna go down to my seed warehouse. We're gonna throw 10 bags on the planter and then we'll go plant this and we'll have enough of everything to do it. No concrete again today. Bummer. Okay, planting we go. 71-ish acres in this field, and you can see it is our burnt down oats, radish, cover crop, volunteer wheat, whatever you want to call the cover crop. And in fact, that is everything we have left to plant is this situation. So it's been hanging wet, but I think it's dry now. I hope it is. I didn't really come over here and check. There's a spot right over there that we looked at 2 days ago that was too wet, and it's been super nice since, so I think it's probably dry. Either way, I'm here and we're gonna plant it. This is awesome. FaceTiming with my boys. He's just carrying me around the house. Rylan, what do you got?
A Capri Sun.
A Capri Sun. He wanted me to open it for him. Brayson's got a Gatorade. Oh, man. All right, we better pay attention here. Well, for the most part, it's been drier out here than when I looked at it on Sunday. It's kind of strange. Like I said then, if you remember, this is the field where the bottom of the dips was pretty good and dry on top. It was the sides of the hills and some of the draws that were still too wet, and it's still the same thing in a couple of spots I've seen. It's been damp on top, but the soil is firm. It's not muddy and gooey. It's just damp and not quite as dry as I would like it to be. So we're not hurting for moisture just yet, although with it being 80 and sunny the next couple of days, it won't take long and we'll be begging for a rain. So yeah, I think the long-term dry trend that we have had over the last, I'll say 2 or 3 months, but really it's been 6, 8, 10 months that we've been drier than normal, is why the low ground and the wet spots have dried out, drier than they normally are. But some of the spots like this up here are still a little wet. All right, so I thought of another thing that I need to talk about in one of my videos. A couple days ago, I went down a rundown of the planter monitor and some of this stuff, and one of the things that I had talked about, I don't know if you guys can see that at all or not, but was the singulation number, and you know, it's telling me whether we have skips or multiples, doubles, basically. So somebody asked and commented on that video about what does that do or what does it mean if you have a skip or a double. And what it means basically is if you've seen those seed plates, and as they move around, there should be one seed stuck to every one of those little holes. There's 40 of them on each of my plates. And if you get one hole that doesn't have a seed, that's a skip, obviously. If you have a hole that has multiple seeds, that's double. And well, as far as what it does, if you have a skip, obviously you don't have a plant that's going to grow there, so that's not a good thing. You don't want to have skips because you need the plants to produce the ears that we're going to harvest. Now, corn will compensate some, so if we're planting a row of seeds and you plant one and you plant one and then you miss one and you plant another one and another one, those two that are on either side of that skipped plant, they're gonna compensate a little bit. So say they put an ear on that's, you know, maybe 10% or 20% bigger than they would have if that other plant hadn't been a skip and was still there. So you got two ears that are, say, 10% bigger, that's an extra 20%, but you still lost 80% of that one plant. So, you know, if we have 1% skips, and 80% of that is yield loss. That means you've lost 0.8% of your yield from all of those skips. You know, that can be significant, I guess. If you believe that train of thought, and I shouldn't throw out that 0.8. You know, maybe it's less than that, maybe it's more, and how much those other plants will compensate. But what it means is that, you know, you're on a 200 bushel crop, 0.8%, you're losing 1.5 bushels, 1.6. So yeah, that's something, but it's not a huge deal. Multiples is kind of just the opposite effect, right? So when you have two plants right on top of each other instead of spaced out like they're supposed to be, it means that those two are direct competition with each other, and they may grow and both put on smaller than normal ears, or they may not put on ears at all and be barren stalks, which is just a weed taking nutrients and moisture from the neighboring plants. So you don't want multiples either. I think a multiple is better than a skip, but I can't tell you exactly how much, and I've never done any studies on that. So it's not a great answer, but that's the best I can do as far as what does a skip or a double mean in terms of practicality. You're going to take a slight yield hit on it. You don't want to do that, but we're not talking about huge numbers here. Found a soft spot over there. We're getting low on seed here, but it's gone farther than I thought it would. Like, a lot farther than I thought it would. So I guess that's not a bad thing. But I'm going to get out here when we get to the end of the field and just level the tanks off, because I can see from here it's not level. And one side's going to run out before the other side. So we might as well preemptively fix it. But we don't have that much left to do here. 16 acres. Well, I got them leveled off. There's a lot of seed in there yet. Like, I'm not sure we're going to need any of these bags. That's not a bad thing that we have the seed. In fact, it's a good thing. The question I had was why? How did my math go wrong? And I figured it out, because this is the same stuff we planted in that last field down to Berkey, right? And I was thinking when we loaded the planter, we had put a full box in. But I had added to that box. I had a little bit of a partial from a different field earlier in the year that I had dumped on top of the full box. And so I had more seed than I thought, which means I had more left in the planter than I thought when we got done with the last one. And yeah, that's a good thing. Okay, we are done heading back to the farm. Turns out I had like the perfect amount of seed in there. Like I didn't have to add any of those bags that I brought, and there couldn't be a whole bag left in the planter, I don't think. So cool, that worked out well. Okay, so I'm back at the farm here. We're not going to another field tonight because we're not doing it tonight. But I am going to fill up my fertilizer tank here and see what we've got. I'm trying to watch this level and judge whether we've got enough or whether I need to try and get a little bit more starter fertilizer. So we'll mix up 1,250 gallons in there and see where we're at. Well, it's not looking good. So I got all the 1034O I need, so I'm pulling out the ATS. But that's not it. I kind of need another 600 gallons yet. All right, well, I got a batch of fertilizer loaded up, so that's ready. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the planter in the shop tonight because I have bags of seed up there, and if I don't, it'll rain. And if I do, it won't rain, and I don't want it to rain yet. So we'll do that. Oh, that? You guys don't need to worry about that today. All right, I'm heading home. It's even before 10 o'clock. 9:57. Earliest I've been home in a while. So, I'm gonna throw, not in today's video, but I'm accumulating some planter GoPro footage, stuff that Brock shot today, a few other little clips that I've had. I'll put together a montage. I'm thinking Thursday after we're done planting, and I've got nothing else to put in the video in an effort to keep these just a touch shorter. You guys aren't gonna want to miss tomorrow's video. I'm
Trust me, you don't want to miss tomorrow's video. So we'll see what's going on with this tractor also tomorrow, and hopefully wrap up corn planting, which will be good. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night. Come back tomorrow.